Right, I'm with Martin, and we're going to continue something which we started back in January when Martin was arrested and taken to the police headquarters, and allegations were revealed to him about very serious sexual assault matters with him and a minor, a girl. That was January. It's now, we're talking October the end of October, I think it must be the 28th, is it 27th, 28th? Last week you were taken to the Magistrates' Court and finally charged.
Yes, correct.
Awful lot has happened in those months. Every month you've been going to the police, all those times. Just the position is you've now been charged with the offences. You will be going back to the Magistrates' Court shortly, in November. You anticipate that the case will be referred to the Royal Court.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind, as I said in the initial interview in January, that you got basically Bob open, no hope.
Just so that I explain to people, I interviewed Martin back in January because there was the threat or the possibility he could have immediately been taken straight off to jail, and that would have been, I wouldn't have seen him again. He came back and explained in a considerable state of shock that this is what happened. He'd been arrested and all these allegations have been made, and in preparation he said, well look, why don't we record something so in case I do get taken away, something like just immediately. You had to resolve your flat. You had to, and I remember I did a little whiz round to show all the stuff and taking off the walls, and it's still bare because you stripped your flat more or less in anticipation, because you rent a flat, this is an Andean flat, that you might have gone whizzed off and all your possessions could have been, nobody knows what would have happened.
Well, basically they put them out in the street, near enough.
And the flat has to be redecorated, so you've redecorated it. You can see all the markings on the wall. You've redecorated it right through, but most of your possessions are gone. And at the time we also explained your dog was here when I last interviewed you back in January. A sick dog, he was a poorly dog.
Yes, he wasn't well, but unfortunately on that morning, DC Lang would not allow me to administer any tablets that he needed to have, or to get anybody to come and look after him. So unfortunately he wasn't well in best of health, but the stress of having, I don't know how many people were in the flat after I'd been taken away, obviously, because they were stripping the place, and he got absolutely distressed and he went downhill, and unfortunately on the Monday I took him to the vets and we had to put him to sleep.
Well, I remember you at the time, not on camera, but I remember he was here. You could hear him breathing on the interview, which will follow this.
Yeah.
But I remember you saying, if I do get taken into Lemoy, who will look after the dog? I remember you saying that. And obviously it was a real issue. So the poor old dog had to be put down. He was put down.
Mainly because of ill health,
yeah.
obviously.
I mean, some people won't understand the significance of that, but he was an old dog. He was an old friend of yours, wasn't he?
It was more than a dog to me, obviously.
Yeah.
I'd had him for nearly 19 years.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be on either side or the other, but people there say, well, what's that? They had the dog put down, and it's a serious child abuse allegations here, but as far as you were concerned, you knew nothing about these allegations.
Well, no, not until that exactly. Morning on the 7th.
That's right. Okay.
When they knocked on the door.
So the poor old dog had to go. Your situation now is that every month you had to go to the police and report?
Every month. In between that time and now, every month I very rarely saw the actual not charging officer, but the officer that arrested me.
Right.
Then halfway through I was told that she'd gone, she wasn't on the case anymore, and another officer had taken over, and I saw that officer for the first time in September when I went back, and she said, I'll have to come back again, obviously October, and even then when I went back this time there was no sign of the officer there, and I was just charged.
You were charged, but the charge is now concerning two people who've made a complaint. There's one person who's made 18 allegations.
Yes.
And one person who's put one allegation.
Yes.
So how that's come about, we don't know. It'll presumably all come out in court. So the situation become more serious from your point of view.
Oh yes, it's impossible because the amount of I knew nothing of this until obviously the 20th of this month. Right. I knew nothing of this. Nothing was told to me. No information was given. I had about 4 minutes in a cell with a lawyer, and that was back in January. and I hadn't seen one again, and it was only off by chance on the 20th of this month when I was taken to the magistrates court that the people that were representing me, or supposedly representing me, happened to be in court and heard my name and offered me a quick bit of advice. And I had another letter from them to fill out this means form again to see if I've got millions stashed away, and so far nothing again yet.
So as far as you know, you will be represented by a legal aid appointed advocate.
Yes.
You don't know yet for certain who that might be.
No.
Whether they have any experience of dealing with such a case, that's something you don't know. And if you refuse to accept them as being not experienced enough, that will be the end of it. You'll have to be
apparently, yes, I won't be able to get any legal aid.
Okay.
If I refuse the one they give me.
Yeah.
So they could have somebody there that deals with property law.
Right.
And I could be lumbered with that.
That's right.
No disrespect to them,
but at the moment you could do with some legal advice. Presumably, you need to know.
Well, that's, like I said, I've sent back the information they asked for in the letter and everything, and bank statements and so on to show what I have and haven't got. But as of what would be 28th today, I haven't had a reply yet. Yeah.
And again, I was out the island when you went to court recently, to the magistrates' court, but the centenier who presented the charges resisted bail. So
yes, it's, as you've seen, I've shown you the printed document. He refused me bail on the grounds that I could interfere with the case, and the reason he given was because I might interfere with the case.
And the magistrate overthrew that and released you back into the community again, but under restrictions.
For the first time, I'm under curfew.
Right.
And obviously I'm not allowed to speak to certain people. Who I can't name.
So this is the process. I mean, this is all on my purposes. I just want people to realise what the process actually is. When you read about Cliff Richard or somebody in the paper, you begin when you're experiencing what he experienced. He's suddenly finds himself in the public domain. Your name's now in the public domain. This is part of this process. You'll go and say, look, this is me, this is me.
Yes,
it's my name.
I'm not going to run away from it. But,
small island is...
The simple fact is since I've found out now that your papers, when the police have apparently finished their investigation, those papers go on to the law office to determine whether to charge you or not. Now, only one side of that information goes to the law officers. What the alleged victims say and what the police come up with goes to the law officers. So they've got no choice, in my view, no choice but to say, charge him. Or her, whatever the case may be, because they only receive one half of the information. They don't... I mean, allegations were made towards other people, which have been proven now to be completely false, and as far as I know the police have looked into that and dismissed it, but none of that's gone to the law officers.
Do they report back to you and say we've investigated?
No,
to the police?
I've had no communication until that last Thursday when they literally took me through, put me in a cell, then took me to the centenier, then I was in the back of the van up to the magistrates court.
So in the magistrates court the other day, the centenier read the charges.
In the magistrate court. He started to read the charges, but he was stopped.
You was, all right, I see.
Mainly because the lawyer lady that was there for me said I'd already read the charge sheet. But I only saw it that morning. That's the first I've seen it. Was that morning.
So hopefully between now and the next appearance of the magistrate is when?
It's on the 17th of November.
Right. So you hope you will have met your lawyer by then.
Well, hopefully, otherwise I'm in deep doo-doos.
That's right.
But again, as you know, my name was put in the Evening Post.
That's right.
But again, once again, the Evening Post seem to know no more than I do, because apparently I'll be in the Royal Court on the 1st of December, according to the Evening Post.
They actually had a date, did they?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Now, I haven't been told this, but obviously somebody in the court obviously informed the JEP.
I mean, it's very hard because I'm talking to you now, you seem reasonably happy. I hate to think what must be going through your head. We're not trying to trivialise this. This is serious stuff. Well, because you can go to jail, and if the allegations are proven, these are very serious allegations, aren't they?
Well, they say, they got witnesses and this and that. They found witnesses. The definition of a witness is somebody who's actually seen something.
Yeah.
So they've got to well, I can't say, but they got a few.
Right.
But it's very hard to explain without dropping myself in it.
I've sat through quite a lot of the evidence going through the inquiry. This is the child abuse inquiry, which has been going on.
That's right.
And this question about witnesses, children, how do they get their evidence taken notice of? How do they make a valid complaint? It's been a perpetual problem. But obviously it's an aspect which, from the person that's accused, it's also a problem, isn't it? How on earth does a person clear their name if they're innocent?
As I said in the first interview, unless I can build a time machine,
that's right.
There's really not a lot I can say or do.
Right.
But the thing is, I know it's bad, you know, what happened in Hope de la Garenne. We know certain things went on and everything else, but it has now become a way, in my mind, just as the way I'm thinking of it, because I've obviously done a bit of research myself and found out some certain things which I can't mention yet, but it's a way again for people falling on hard times to possibly make some money.
Yeah. Well, this is...
and all you need to do is walk into a police station and make up something.
Right. Well, I wonder... It would be interesting...
take a man as seriously as a woman.
I dare say people are researching these very things, because obviously this is part of the game. If it's a game to rubbish the person who makes the complaint in some way or other, if that's what happens, I mean, I feel sure it has, but obviously it's open to abuse. The system
it's very open to abuse. I mean, I would have never even thought about it along those lines until now. But when you sort of delve into it all, and you see how completely one-sided the whole system is, from the police, I mean, I know they interviewed one person, which I can't name, but he completely dismissed and dismantled some of the allegations that were made, and now basically he's been stopped in a way from speaking on my behalf, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, it's anyway. We as far as I can, I'm capable. I'm trying to just present information to the public so that they have a perception of what has happened, the police process, how it happens, and not to jump to conclusions.
Well, no, you should never jump to. Like I said, I've been guilty of that myself in the past. But the simple fact is, it is a completely biased system.
Yeah.
And it's all on the side of the alleged victim.
Right.
Whether you've told the truth or not, or even if I'm found innocent, then it's too late, because my name is in the paper. No doubt they'll have my picture now as well anyway, but I'm sure that will be in the post when it goes to the court and everything else. Now, they can, if I'm found, which I expect to be found not guilty, I walk out of that court and, you know, as they say, mud sticks.
Absolutely.
And these people can hide behind everything and walk out with nothing. They can just go about their daily lives and having destroyed somebody else's. And you've got no recourse for that. I tried to find out if I could, but legal aid won't help with civil actions.
Right.
So unless you've got lots of money, which is what Jersey's founded on now, you've got no chance of getting any justice. You're just completely stripped.
Well, we'll stop there. I'm going to put this little interview up. This is so that people who see the interview which follows this, which we did in January, so you can see the context, you can see the update situation. You have done a self-interview, which I've got, and I will put up. If the public want to see it, we'll put up. There's nothing that we shouldn't put up. It's a bit repetitive because it repeats some of the things we discussed, but that will go up as well. But that's, I think, enough for us to say for the moment. Thanks much indeed.
Thank you.